Welcome back, everybody. Today we have Rob Nicholls on the show. Rob is a chartered accountant and Henley MBA graduate who spent more than 20 years as a CFO with a wealth of knowledge. So super excited to have you on the show today. Rob, why don't you just start by telling us a bit about yourself and sort of the businesses that you've been running.
Thanks, Jordan. Good to be with you. I've been doing this about 35 years now. I'm a fractional CFO, board advisor, and non-exec based in the UK, but I have clients all over the world. Most of my experience is big company experience. I now focus on SMEs. So generally businesses, 2 to 25, $2 to $30 million businesses. And I go in and help them as a fractional CFO. I have 11 clients right now, 5 of them on long-term retainers as CFO, and the rest as board advisor and non-exec, all on long-term retainers. Most all in the UK, one in Los Angeles, one in the Channel Islands, and one in Europe as well. So they tend to work on 4 areas with businesses: profitability, margins, sales, and creating business value into the business. I did 20 years with a large global technology firm as finance director in Northern Europe, the UK, the Nordic countries. Then I took on the Middle East and Africa, spent a lot of time out in Johannesburg, Turkey, Egypt, the Emirates, and grew a business from just over 20 million to 120 million in 3 years. And then they said to me, well, why don't you come and do this in North America? And so I went to North America and expatriated out there for about 12 years and stayed a lot longer. And ended up spending 24 years living on the West Coast of the United States and doing the similar sort of thing. I started off as a CFO, but became a fractional CFO, consultant, advisor, board advisor, and non-exec director to a number of businesses, mainly SMEs, mainly sort of startups through $50 million turnover, professional services, build environment, industrials, sustainability companies, from startups to mature companies. So I've done the full remit. As you said, I'm a chartered accountant with an MBA, which probably just means I'm somewhat dangerous.
Right. And I also see that you're also a governor at a college in Devon, like a further education college. So that feels like a real time commitment for somebody also running consulting practice. Like, what drew you to that?
I mean, that's part of my giving back. My wife says to me, it's all the bad things I've done in life, I have to do some good stuff and give back to sort of, not-for-profit educational charities and that sort of thing. But that's good for connections as well. That's good for introductions. It builds a wider ecosystem and network. And I'm a big believer in building a network that you can rely on. And I'm probably one of the more connected people from Bristol to Penzance in the southwest of the UK. And that creates opportunities that enables me to connect and facilitate introductions for people. So I'm quite well connected and people want to talk to me. They want to get me in the room and have me on their side. So that, part of it is giving back. Part of it is not so much altruistic, but it just broadens the depth and the breadth of what you offer and who you can offer it to. So being well connected is very, very important in my world.
Yes, 100%. And so like a fractional CFO engagement, I think, is maybe one of the most trust intensive purchases an SME owner can make. They're giving you access to their real numbers, their stress, their situation. How do you currently build enough trust with a new prospect that they're willing to say yes before they actually worked with you?
Well, a lot of it is, it comes through relationships. It's a function of time. There's a guy called David Meister 20 years ago, I wrote a book about the trusted advisor. And that's what I stick to be with all my clients. But it takes time, and your voice and your opinions of what you've done and where you've been and who you've worked with, the outcomes you've generated. Those are the sort of things you've got to build up over time. And it's taken me 2 or 3 years here in the UK because I came back from 20 plus years in the US. It's taken quite a bit of time to build up that level of trust because you're right, people are sharing not just the financials, but their objectives, broader issues that they're dealing with in the business, on their personal side, their relationships, their careers, what they've done, their ups, their downs. And so you really do become the trusted advisor. As CFO, you are the right hand of the CEO, managing director, senior partner, director, whatever they may be. You are the right hand co-pilot, effectively, of their business. And so they are entrusting you with an awful lot to manage risk, to manage the financials. And I own strategy for a number of businesses that I work with as well. And I am the person that most of the C-level management team come to, other than the senior leader, the CEO. I'm only in the business 1, 2, 3 days a month, perhaps, but you become that independent voice. It's a function of time. It's a function of what you've done, where you've been, the outcomes you've generated. And for me, a lot of it is the digital voice, the digital footprint you have, the things that I share on a daily basis, the client interactions, the issues the clients have had. And it kind of just builds up, it compounds. And that's what I'm a big believer in.
Right. And so, yeah, I can see that you have a very impressive more than 25,000 people following you on LinkedIn. I'm sure the content helps a ton and the social proof. How else are you acquiring customers? Are you doing any outbound? Is it mostly referrals? Is it events? Are they all coming inbound? What does that look like?
So a lot of what I do is in-person work and in-person introductions. And so most of my work comes through inbound. I probably get 25 to 30 um, inbound inquiries a day that I then go through and qualify, probably close to 100 a week. I probably get half a dozen discovery calls out of those inbound inquiries. I get an awful lot of messages from people just wanting to connect, wanting to pick your brains and wanting an introduction and how can I help and what can you do for me sort of thing. But an awful lot of it comes through in-person networking, referrals. The other side of it is the digital piece. You know, having a mouthpiece on LinkedIn is extremely valuable, extremely broad. I can talk to people anywhere in the world, any time of day. We're 10 time zones apart, but it's as if you're down the road. It works extremely well. But I have to be out there seen and heard from pretty much every other day in between delivering for clients, delivering outcomes, hosting. I've got 2 board meetings this week. I've got 2 sessions with 2 leadership teams. For me as a fractional executive, I've got to be out there all the time, building networks, doing the business development work, and then delivering for my clients as well.
And so, it sounds like a lot of leads coming in. I think there's a lot of people listening to this who would be extremely jealous. Like, how many people are in your operation? Is it just you? Because you've described this in some of your content as like a lifestyle business. And so is the goal to grow significantly, or have you deliberately matched everything to fit your life?
So I do everything pretty much. My son does work with me as well. He does other things as well. He's working on his law degree, but he does other things for me as well. But I'm just pretty driven and focused, and I know what works now, and I double down on what works, whether it's in person, whether it's posting on LinkedIn, whether it's engaging on LinkedIn, whether it's client delivery, generating outcomes. I've been very fortunate to work with some really, really good people. I choose the people I work with. And that's one of the great things as being a fractional CFO or any fractional, you can choose the clients you work with. You can set the pricing you want to generate. You can work with the number of clients. You can work with less clients, fewer times a month. I choose to work more in terms of long-term clients with a smaller group of long-term clients at a higher rate. All of my clients work on a long-term retainer. And so they've got to be of a certain size to be able to, cover my costs. One of the big things I do is I get into a business very quickly. I can be from first introduction to discovery call, first introduction, a meeting, and an NDA. I can be in a business within 7 to 10 days. So I can turn around and get in and start working with a client as CFO, board advisor, non-exec director, consigliere, if you will, very quickly. So there's no 6 to 9 months recruiting process timeline with me. And I'll be a lot less expensive because I won't be there more than 2, 3, 4 days a month, if you will. So again, the fractional workspace is growing very rapidly. As a CFO, there's lots and lots of roles. It's big in Asia, it's big in North America, and it's growing fast in Europe.
Right. And so obviously you must be seeing things shift and change with AI now sort of coming more into things. Obviously it's not going to replace anybody tomorrow, but how are you seeing AI come into the space and how are maybe you using it in your day to day, if at all?
So I write every day. I use a little bit of AI to improve my writing, and that's all fine. What I see happening very rapidly, and particularly in the accounting, any of the professional services firms, is that a lot of the drudgery, the early stage, fresh out program analyst, early stage financial analyst, is going to get AI'd away very, very quickly if it hasn't already. I use things like Manus AI to develop board packs, drop spreadsheets into them, drop the financials, and I can generate a really good looking board pack within a few minutes kind of thing. What is
Hmm.
the value to me and my clients is the judgment call. That's where the value is for me. And that's about moving up the value chain, if you will, such that you're not doing the financials or the analysis, if you will, or the research. You're using judgment. You're using years of experience, knowledge, insight, academics, perspective, where you've been, different industries. That's where the value is. And that's where you get paid the big bucks, if you will, by moving up the value chain. So I don't do very much delivery in terms of analysis or research now. It's really using my judgment, which comes from years of experience, having moved between different industries, different regions. I know the globe very well. I know North America very well. I know Europe very well. I know technology, communication services, FMCG. I know professional services. So it's using that judgment now and layering that on top of the AI to deliver better outcomes for clients. And clients are willing to pay for that. And they're
Hmm.
willing to pay quite well.
I see. And so just wrapping up here, Rob, like a question I like to ask always sort of towards the end of the podcast is, let's say that we had a magic wand and we could wave it over one big problem right now in sort of around your growth strategy or something else maybe in the business, and we could solve it just like that. What would that big problem be right now?
Well, other than improving my golf handicap, which is my primary objective, I think there's something big coming, and AI is a really big thing. It is going to disintermediate an awful lot of people and an awful lot of roles, and there will be a gap between where we are today and where we are in 8 to 12 years' time in terms of the roles. And we're going to find an awful lot of people that are going to be kicking their heels, twiddling their thumbs, trying to figure out how to deliver for their families, for themselves, continue development, professional development as a career. We have to find a way to deliver, I think, that knowledge and insight to people to become more valuable down the line. And I don't see any of that happening right now. There's lots of free training courses, but there's not a lot of roles and abilities for people to bridge the gap from where they are to where they need to be in 12 or 15 years' time to kind of build a career. The ladder is effectively being removed from a lot of people. And I think we have to find a way to kind of replace that career ladder, those early years, 5 to 10 years, early years into a new role out of college or university. Otherwise, we're going to have a generation that's going to be structurally knowledgeable and capable, but behind that, there's not a lot of experience or insight. So I think we have to find a way, professional services, the build environment, technology to bridge that gap for people. Otherwise, it's going to be very painful for a lot of people.
Certainly. Well, some fantastic insight there, and really appreciate you coming on and sharing everything today. If people are listening and maybe they want to connect with you or check out some of your fractional CFO services, where can they go? How can they connect, Rob?
So the best way to, and I'm happy to connect with any and all people, is through LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn. I'm a fractional CFO and board advisor in the UK. You'll find me, read my content, share, connect with me. Happy to do so. And if I can help, more's the better.
I'll make sure to leave links in the description. But thank you again for coming on, Rob. And thank you guys very much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks, Jordan.